now, yeah, I am an addict, and I'm not proud of the decisions I made, but I can't change them. So at the end of the day, I'm an addict, but I am killing it in life now. Being an addict doesn't define you for the rest of your life. You can change.
Welcome back to another episode of the Succeed Against the Odds show. Today, as my guest, I have Bonnie Johnstone.
Hi.
Welcome, Bonnie.
Thank you for having me.
I am so excited to have you here because I met you, I think it was back in February. It was this year. So it was this year. And you were speaking at an event that we were both speaking at. And I was blown away by your story and what you're all about. So not just your story, but what you're doing with your story and how you're carrying forward. So for those people in our audience that don't know who Bonnie is, would you like to share who Bonnie is and what you're up to and what's led you to do what you do today?
Oh, where do I start?
I know, it's a big question. It's like
a big
multiple
story.
questions. Start wherever you like.
Well, I lived my life hiding behind shame. And I really didn't know that I was hiding behind shame. I just thought that I was an addict and that I was dysfunctional and not worthwhile. I was in domestic violent relationships, and I was molested most of my childhood. My mom abandoned me and didn't really have a lot of love for me. And so I always grew up thinking, but they have a really bad story too. So I kind of deserve it. And then I realized that no, I woke up one day and I got sober and I was so emotional. And I was like, why am I crying every single day? Like, I'm so emotional. And I realized, well, because I was still hanging out with my parents. I was still supporting them, feeding them, having them over, making sure that they were okay. But nobody was making sure I was okay. And so I disowned them. And the minute I did that and stood on my story, it changed everything. And that was thanks to Joe, stand on your story, not in it. And I owned my story and I came out. My stepdad molested me my whole childhood. And I felt used, abandoned. I just was so ashamed. And when I opened up about it and more people were like thanking me for owning that story, I was like, oh man, I want to be a speaker. I want to be an author. I want to change the world and end these cycles and help people like me who think they can't do anything because we're addicts and people look down on us. And it all just kind of whirlwind into being a published author, being a workshop facilitator, being an actual public speaker on stages, and investing in myself and changing my mindset. And now, aside from reaching these goals, I've also, went in a pageant. Like, who would have thought with all these years of body image that I would compete in a pageant with 46 other women? And here I am today, a better mom, a better friend, and just a better person.
Okay, so if someone watching this right now is dealing with addiction and parents are not supportive, what was the trigger for you? Because you said you believed that you deserved that. What happened that made that switch for you to say, no, this is not it?
I took this little class about Brene Brown and shame, and this lantern exercise really changed my way of thinking. And that if my values weren't being met, my light was dim. And I said, I don't value pedophiles. Why would I feed one? And so which was one of the hardest things I ever did, I stopped talking to my parents. I left my husband. I was so afraid of being alone, but I took that leap of being alone and changed. You're a sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most. I ended up being a loner because I was like, nope, none of these people line up with my values. But then when you open yourself up for space for people that have the same values, you're amazed at how many people come into your life. And I was whole, and I was like, I can do this. And it just worked.
Okay, so I'm going to dig a little deeper, if you don't mind.
Oh, of course.
So the workshop kind of brought that up, made it evident to you that you were not in a healthy kind of environment. But what led you to take the workshop on shame? Were you feeling, what compelled you to take a workshop on shame?
It was my friend that said, hey, would you take this with me? And I'm a no person. I am like, no, I'd rather lie in bed. No. Or I'm a yes person, but then I make excuses as to why I can't go. And being in the program, I learned what my defects are. And one of them is not keeping my promises. So I've worked really, really hard on if I say yes, I follow through. So I went.
Well, I'm glad you're here. You said yes to the interview. She's here. You're following through.
Yes. And it's the same with friends too. Like, oh, we should get together. I make a point of, okay, let's put it in the calendar. Let's do this. And if my friend can't make it, then I will bring lunch to you. Like, keeping those connections is so important. So important. Because they need me and I need them.
So one friend invited you and you decided to go
and I
along.
Went.
How has your life changed since?
Oh, I have never been happier. I wake up every morning, and for the first time in my life, I make my bed in the morning, because when I make my bed in the morning, I've started my day off well, and I don't get back in it. You know, I'm happy. I'm actually grateful that even though not everything has worked out the way I wanted to yet, I'm still grateful that I'm sober, that my children are proud of me, that I'm making connections with people I would have never thought would give me the time of day. And I'm starting to realize that, like, I'm not a bad person. I just made bad mistakes.
And that's what most people, we all make mistakes.
Yeah.
Some are just
some
a little
really
heavier.
Big, and some are really small.
But here you are, you're creating an impact, you're being a role model to help people who need help and inspiring them. So what do you see in your future? What do you see? What's Bonnie's dream?
My dream is to just continue doing what I'm doing. I want to be speaking everywhere that I can, worldwide. Like,
okay, so what do you speak about?
Well, I speak about shame, ditching the shame and owning your life, changing your mindset, you know, making goals that are attainable. Not like, hey, I want that Lamborghini. Like, that is an attainable goal, but not in a year. You know, those are long-term goals. So I focus on the short-term goals. And I figure I can help people that are like still stuck in addictions or shame, and help them make those little tiny steps where they start to feel better about themselves. And then they realize that, like, I've overcome so much and let's keep going. And I would, of course, love to write my own book. You know, I've got 2 chapters and 2 books, but to write my own book, or maybe like a 3-part book, because I have so many stories, that's definitely on my to-do list.
What's one story you would like to share today?
I have so many. And some are good and some are bad. But, you know,
they're all good stories at this point.
I think being an addict was my hardest, you know, and a lot of people knew, but they didn't want to say anything. Nobody wanted to say, hey, Bonnie, I think you have a problem. And I don't know if that would have changed my life earlier, but there's this stigma and people don't want to just be honest. I think more people need to stand up and say what's on their mind. You know, I had all these friends, but not one of them said, Bonnie, you're being a really crappy mom. You're being really selfish. Nobody did that. I don't know if they were afraid of me or what, but, you know, I was using because I was so miserable. And maybe I was waiting for someone to reach out. Nobody reached out. Nobody. And I started to just believe that I was nothing but an addict. I was nothing but a party animal. I was not worth the time of day. And now, yeah, I am an addict. And I'm not proud of the decisions I made, but I can't change them. So at the end of the day, I'm an addict, but I am killing it in life now. Being an addict doesn't define you for the rest of your life. You can change.
You run, I've seen on social media where you have your days of confidence. Tell us about that.
Well, it all started because I'm a board member for a nonprofit, and we deal with women who need, would like to lose weight, would like more confidence, some people get stuck in the cycle of being a mom, a wife, that they forget who they are. So I started seeing that I had such a following, and I was like, what can I do to kind of uplift my followers? And so I did 100 Days of Confidence, and I kept tally of everybody that also posted along with me, and I had a prize at the end for whoever did the most posts. And at the end of 100 days, I got messages from some of my friends from my partying days, and they were like, I've been waiting for this day. And I'm like, what do you mean? We've been just watching and we're so proud of you. Like, we've just been waiting to see 100 days and we want you to keep going. And I'm like, okay.
No I've noticed it's way past 100.
Yep. And I said, you know what? No more prizes. If you want to post, great. But I felt really uplifted by it. And I saw other people like every day, I'm confident, I'm this. And so I'm confident. Even on the bad days, I'm still confident about something. Might be confident that I get my butt out of bed. I might be confident that I make dinner. But I might be confident that I feel really good in my body that day, or I feel really beautiful that day. And so I said, keep going. I figure I'll go for the year. I don't know. We'll see.
So there's no end number right now. It's just ongoing for now.
Every day I post something about my confidence.
As I noticed that they post under your post.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can do the same thing. So you can follow Bonnie on Facebook.
Yep.
And you can follow the Days of Confidence and post what you're confident about each day.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing because so many people were so afraid to be open. And now I see all these, grandmas even that are like, I'm confident in the heels I'm wearing today. And I'm like, yeah, girl. Like, that's amazing that I can post a little bit about myself and bring out a little bit in everybody else.
Can we get a little personal?
Yeah.
Okay. So you talked about being an addict. What have been your addictions?
Well, I started drinking at 14. My stepdad, who molested me, I ended up moving in with him because my mom had men coming and going. She was an addict as well. And she always took everything out on me. So if I came home from school and said, Mom, guess what? She'd ground me for just talking to her. So I couldn't handle it anymore. So I moved in with my stepdad because I was like, you know what? He's not going to touch me anymore. And I'll just stay up all night and be aware, but I'll get money, I'll get clothes. I was very materialistic as I was younger. So I dropped out of school at 14 and I became a full-fledged party girl. Like I drank a lot and I dabbled in anything that I could get my hands on, mushrooms, acid, I would call it like teenage drugs. And then I went on the carnival, had 2 kids, and I was sober.
How long were you in the carnival?
I started when I was 15 and I left in 2004. So almost 10 years. And so when I had my kids, I didn't drink, but I was very controlling of my husband, my boyfriend. And I was like, you can't drink. And I was very codependent. And when I left him, I was in my early 20s and my grandma died. And I had to I felt I had to take care of my stepfather. And he moved into my house. And there must have been this underlying shame going on because I started going out and I picked up a cocaine addiction. And then I lost my children. Then I ended up in a really violent relationship for 8 years and ended up with a pill addiction. Then I got my kids back. I had my youngest son. And when I left him, I picked up the addiction again because I was alone. And I went full blown with the cocaine. I am surprised I'm still here. And now I look back and say, well, I'm still here because something bigger. There's no way that I am here for nothing because the amount of partying I did, my liver should be shut down. So I'm like, I have to do what I'm doing. I'm called here to do this.
How long have you been clean now?
Since October 16th, 2016.
Wow.
Not even a drink.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. So inspiring. So how do you push through? Do you still get cravings?
It's not really so much cravings as
I don't know how it works. That's what I'm calling it cravings. I don't even know if that's what you call it.
Yeah, I mean, some people probably do, but for me, I always wanted to just numb myself. So when things get tough, I would love to go have a drink because life gets tough sometimes. When my husband came home on day 471, he was hammered and I was mad and I wanted to drink. But I didn't. I kicked him out. I've been single ever since, separated. And there's been a couple times when the sun got out and I was like, summertime, a nice drink would be good. But I don't want to attempt having a couple of drinks knowing that there is a possibility that I will end back at square one. And I have come too far and I've done too much to even try.
It's not worth it.
No. I'm a better person without it. Like, I'm funnier without it. I'm funner. I don't have to deal with hangovers. Like, I don't need any of that substance anymore.
So how do you, when you have that moment or when you're feeling down and blue and you just go, just take something or just drink, and what's that little string that says, hang on, you can get through this?
I go to a meeting. I reach out. Asking for help doesn't make you weak, it makes you strong. Reaching out is one of the strongest things anybody can do. Because none of us are perfect. None of us are 100% strong. We are a community. We're a tribe. We need each other to thrive. And so I reach out.
There's nothing more beautiful than getting support and people that can understand you and give you the support you need.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I have way more of a support system now than I thought I did back then when I thought I was so popular and had real friends. You know, you want to see who your real friends are? Get sober.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yes.
Yeah. Because now I don't have anything to bring to the table like drugs and alcohol and money, where that's where all my old friends were like, yeah, Bonnie's always got the party. Now my friends come to me for me. Mm-hmm. To talk with me for my advice.
Because they like you for who you are, not for what you're bringing for them.
And that's amazing.
Now, you ran away at some point. You went to San Francisco. Tell me about that story.
Oh, I didn't really run away because
you did run away. Okay.
I kind of got whatever I wanted. So my grandmother worked a lot. She was kind of famous. And I'm pretty sure everybody knew about the molestation. And I met a guy online. And I was 15. And he lived in California, and I wanted to go, and I demanded a plane ticket. So I got one, and I went to California it was my 16th birthday, and I went out there and met him. He was 24, and then I came home, and I demanded I go back. And so I moved out there for 3 months.
So you didn't run away. You just kind of demanded your way there.
Yeah. I never had to run away because I never got told no. Except for by my mother. But my father, I can only assume, felt guilty for what he did to me. So I got everything I wanted. And my grandmother worked a lot, and her love language was money. So I got whatever I wanted. Like, I went to Paris at 15. I went to San Francisco at 16. I had a house trailer on the Carnival at 19.
Okay, so how has your personal experience, the way you grew up with very little boundaries, with you pretty much demanding your way to whatever you wanted, to how you are with your kids now?
That's a tough one because I never gave them boundaries because I was too busy being selfish and drinking that they had no boundaries. And then one day, Mom's sober and Mom has rules, and it was really hard on the kids, and it's still hard now. Because they're like, but we want to play video games till 5 o'clock in the morning. Well, to the teenagers, they're kind of already young adults. Okay, you can do that, but I'm knocking on your door in the morning and you're waking up. So that's your decision. My youngest is a little bit easier to mold him back into a schedule, but it's hard work. It is not only hard to be a parent, but to be an addict parent is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done. Because I didn't have a mom. I didn't have someone teaching me how to do things. So I'm learning along the way. I Google a lot of things.
Now you have your own business.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So when I started being a speaker, I was like, all these people have things to bring to the table, like, workshops or they're coaches. And so I kind of was wondering, like, well, how do I be a coach? You know, or how do I do this? How do I do that? And so I just kind of did it. I found a name, I registered it, and then, well, okay, what do I do?
What's it called?
It's called Catching Dreams. And I just kind of started with a shirt line because I wanted something to offer when I'm at events. So I started a shirt line, a bracelet line. The shirts actually have been quite popular, so I added some new shirts. And then I had someone ask me if I would do a workshop. And I said, really? Like, me? And she said, yes, for 10 at-risk youth who struggle, who live on reserve, who are secluded, because a lot of reserves are secluded. And I said, sure. And so I did a workshop facilitation, and we did a lot of I am, I can, I will statements, giving them some confidence. And then, of course, me being proof that you can come from hurt and become something with your life. And we did vision boards, and just what I saw and what I gave them in such a little amount of time, I added that to my business as well. So now this summer, I'm going to be working on reaching out and making connections on reserves and treatment centers and just getting out there more.
Excellent. So are youth your primary focus?
No. I mean, we're talking young adults, so 19 to 24, but treatment centers, I mean, that's a big open space there with many different ages. And I'm very passionate about that because I didn't go to treatment, but I know a lot of people that need to, and I would just love to show them that you're not just an addict. You were an addict. Now what are you going to do?
So why do you say I'm an addict now when you're not using anymore? Why do you use that in the present tense?
Well, I think it's just part of the program, right? Like you just, you know, every time that you speak, you say, hi, I'm Bonnie, I'm an addict, you know, and it's just owning that because I don't think you really cure yourself. You know, it's not like, oh, I've been clean for 5 years. Now I could dabble a little bit. I think that's a really slippery slope, and I will always be an addict. I know I cannot use. I don't have a shut-off switch. So I'm an addict, but I'm more than that. I think that was just my starting point, was owning that I had a problem and no longer hiding it. Now I'm so much more.
You absolutely are. You're a powerhouse. That's what you are. 'Cause I've seen you speak. And if you ever have an opportunity to see Bonnie speak, you must absolutely attend because she'll blow you away.
Yeah, I blow myself away.
She'll blow your mind. Wow. So do you have anything coming up in the near future?
Yes, I'm actually going to be speaking at My Story Mondays in Vancouver. And I'm really excited about that because it's broadcasted on TV. And then in September, I'm booked for Invermere, Edmonton, and Portland.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's for different events? Or
Invermere is Life by Design or Live by Design.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Frock Off and Sacred Hearts Rising is Edmonton and Portland.
Fantastic.
So I'm looking really forward to that.
That is awesome.
I know. International speaker.
Totally. Totally. So is there anything else you want our audience to know about you?
About me, or not even just me, I would love for everybody to just take what I've done and do it themselves. You know, you don't have to be an addict or have a terrible story to be stuck in life. You know, mental health, like I have depression, PTSD, anxiety, and I'm learning a lot of people do, and it holds you back. But the more that you're open about your faults, the more you learn that there's more people out there like you. And if you can build that tribe and that support system, then your mindset starts to change and the ball starts rolling and then life gets better.
Totally.
Like I may be a powerhouse, but anybody can be a powerhouse. Anybody. You just got to put your mind to it.
Yeah. Share your story and work on yourself.
Yeah. Stand on that story.
Stand on the story.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Well, it's been so awesome to have you here in the show as my guest. So if people want to reach you, get in touch with you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
I have a website that I blog on, www.bonniespeaks.ca. All my contact information is on there, or Facebook.
Cool.
Yeah, just search Bonnie Nicole.
Well, we'll have the links are in the show notes. So
Perfect.
Check it out, click, and and connect with Bonnie.
Absolutely.
And
I love to connect.
The confidence days.
Yeah, join up. And the more people that do it, I find the more people that join.
Yes.
And I have some people that do it every single day religiously with me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And they've become friends. It's amazing who ends up being your friends.
You've created something amazing just by doing something so simple.
Yeah.
And like you said, anybody can do it. So
yeah.
you can start doing something like that as well and just inspire other people. And,
absolutely.
And it grows your following as well at the same time.
And it makes the world a better place.
Yeah.
For our next generation. That's the best part.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
You're totally
too.
amazing. We didn't even scratch the surface with Bonnie today. That's why I say you do need to follow Bonnie. What are the titles of the books that you have your chapters in? So
Sacred Hearts Rising, and it's Sacred Hearts Rising 1 and 2. The second book is in works now, and the first one I have a chapter in as well under my married name, Bonnie Todd, but it still says in there Bonnie and my other one.
It's still you.
Yep, it's still
Bonnie.
me. So,
this Bonnie.
yeah, and we're always looking for other people that want to share a story. It doesn't have to be a terrible story. It could be something as simple as, just struggling with something or losing a loved one. Or these are just stories that you can touch hundreds of thousands of people and help them rise up as well.
Everybody can. Even if you think you can't, every single one of us impacts the people around us. So if we could, whether we like it or not, we do it constantly. Mm-hmm. So if we do it knowingly, especially putting in a chapter in a book, even if it's not even a whole book, but just a chapter, like you said, it's a great way to do it.
Well, and it's a sisterhood.
Yeah. And then you get to connect with the other authors as well, and you create a bond there. So you get a whole new different type of support. Friendship.
Well, and in the second book, I know people that are in the book. So it's it's really cool to be doing something with people it's amazing because you're helping other people own their stories.
Well, I can tell you one thing personally, just watching you, just from February till now, the things I've seen you accomplish, I'm like, how does she do all of this stuff? It's amazing. So Bonnie's definitely a person to follow. If you want to be inspired and motivated, just watch what she's doing. Just watch what she's doing. Just follow her because you will be inspired. And I appreciate you for who you are.
Thank you.
For the fact that you are sharing your story, for the fact that you're not hiding anything. You're just I asked you before we started the recording, I asked you, is there anything you don't want me to ask you? And I said, I'm an open book. So, and it shows.
Yeah.
So, and that goes a long way. That goes a long way, especially when you have such a story, or many stories, multiple stories that are very difficult stories. They're not just simple stories. You come here nice and strong and powerful, but there's a lot behind that goes on, and there's a lot behind before you can get this strong.
Yeah. And I'm not the strongest person. I'm still got a lot of growth. I mean, I was just telling you, I slept for 2 weeks in June. I was very depressed. I mean, I'm not perfect, and I still have little bouts of depression. I have PTSD. These are things that I live with, but I'm not going to let that stop me, because that's when you lose your magic.
And that's the key. You don't let it stop you.
So be honest. Reach out. Hey, I'm having a hard time. And I did. I had to reach out to some people and get some help with my kids because I couldn't mom. So it takes a tribe. It takes a tribe to not only hold yourself up, but to raise children, to just do everything. You can't do it on your own.
Yeah. So reach out. Even if you don't have family, you can reach out.
I don't have family, but I have a tribe. I have a tribe of people that support me.
You disowned your family. You completely severed them, right?
Yeah.
You totally more.
Bye.
No contact. So there you go. Pure
example. I did find my dad, though.
You did?
I did. I found my bio dad in October. But he lives on the island.
But he hadn't seen him since when?
Since I was 9.
So that was a long time. So he was not the one person that you had cut off ties with.
I just found him. So he got put in.
So that's a good find.
Yes,
that's a good connection.
Yes.
So you do have one family member at least that you're...
And it's mindset, because I remember I had looked for him for years since I had my first child 15 years ago. But my mindset, I told that universe it was time. I needed to find him.
So
I
you put
found
all
him
the
the
effort
next
into it.
day.
Next day, wow. So wow.
I'm telling you, mindset and manifestation is probably two of the key things that have gotten me to where I am. You know, my grandma used to say, I can, I must, I will. Say that to yourself every single day.
I can, I must, I will.
Cool. Yeah, it's perfect.
Love it. You're awesome.
Thank
You're
you.
amazing. You're unbelievable and incredible.
Thank you.
And I know that every person that you work with you will change their lives. I know that just because I've already seen what you've done. So kudos. I am very excited to see all that's about to happen and
Me
moving
too.
forward and just following you. Very exciting. So once again, check out Bonnie. Click on the link below so you can connect with Bonnie directly. And that's it, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Definitely join.
Give you a hug.
Thank you.